Homies, I'm back. Oh, feeling good again. Feeling pretty damn wonderful for the most part. I'm pretty drained, if you could understand. I did leave town for 4 or 5 days, and the 2 days that I went, if you saw the last video, didn't exactly go to plan. So I did get some good, kind of warm-up workouts in while I was gone, but nothing's ever gonna beat the real thing when it comes to the typical program that makes me feel as strong as I do, So if you were here, you would know that this week we are not continuing the normal program because I had to leave town. The weights were really bad out of town. It led to some straining, led to some not good feelings. A couple sad boy days, but you gotta experience them and kind of walk away from it in order to come back stronger and actually want to do more. Sometimes walking away can be the best thing for you when you're so in love with what you do. Yeah, it's really hard, especially when I've been doing it for how long as I've been doing it. But that want and that need to continuously show up is what it's what keeps it going in my brain. It's what keeps the passion fueled. It's what makes everything in my life a form of passion, regardless of what obligation appears to be there. So this week is just going to be focused on doing. It's what I call a kind of deload week, and I know it's not your typical deload week, so do not come for me. Damn it! I know it's a little special. It's a little unique to myself, but for me, when it comes to doing some sort of deload or recovery week, more so is what I'd like to call it. It's probably more like a recovery week. I focus on complexes and variations of the main lifts that I'm trying to do so that I can burn my low back and my abs as hard as I can before I jump back into the normal volume schemes. Because one of the biggest issues, like I had getting back into the cycle last time, was everything's going great and I'm hitting all the weights, but I just jumped right back into it with no prep. I just did one little baby workout while I was out of town for Christmas, and then we're like, whatever, let's just throw a weight or two. And yeah, I'm able to do it because I tempered the weight to a point where I could actually succeed, but I tempered it toward my limited self. I didn't temper it toward my prepared self. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I made, because it led to me being much more sore and overworked than I would have liked to have been, especially when it comes to your low back. I'm a very low back dominant guy when it comes to my trunk. And going heavy on that first week will burn it out. It will wreck you like you have not felt in a while, and it's not great. Anyway, but that's the whole idea, just doing some stuff that really gets the core burned, gets the joints moving. I want to do a heavy enough, comfortable weight that makes me feel like I am prepared to get back on the normal type of heavyweight, because that little bit of confidence, not just physically, but also mentally, will take you a very long way. Getting into it, I started with a classic. This is one of my favorite complexes to do when I'm getting back into snatches. The Klokov pause, if you know Dmitry Klokov, if you're an Olympic guy. He's one of the big boys, one of the big men. And obviously this isn't like something he really invented or whatever. It's just something that he was kind of known for, where you pause at the knee for an extended pause, like a 3-second solid pause before whipping under the bar. I am a big fan of this because no matter how burnt out you are, because of the limitations you put on the technique and the power you have when it comes to your overall strength, getting into the lift, you kind of half what strength you're supposed to have. So you have to put in twice as much technique and core efforts than you typically would, which makes your technique way better in the long run. This is why I kind of call it a recovery week, where I'm doing lifts that I'm not focused on the weight at all. It's just whatever I can do for a comfortable top single without worrying about any volume or any weight, just whatever feels like I'm burning through really, really well. And let me tell you, it went pretty damn good. Let me tell you, because there's always a bit of doubt when you get back into it. It's always going to feel like you're not going to be able to do shit, and that you kind of just got to give up on worrying about any sort of fun weight in the meantime. But let me tell you, that did not happen today. At least on the snatches. It was really, really good. Every single weight felt amazing. I only had one like little hiccup, I think at like 205, where you're not really going to be able to tell, but it didn't feel like my arms locked out at the same time. Didn't feel like my elbows were like trying to fully extend as I would like them to. But again, that's the conditioning that this kind of a lift puts into your joints. You know, it forces you to try to really hyperextend those elbows through the lockout so that you can actually catch it at the best rate possible, you know, and it felt wonderful. You know, I got to 235, failed the first one. I was like, all right, I guess this is what I'm ending at. And the make I got at 235 really showed me that there was some like really unique growth right in that moment, right in that single present time. It's really cool to do such hard accessories like these because they really make you realize what you've not only been lacking in, but what you may have more strength in that you don't typically actually use. Like for me, I think I've been slacking a bit in how much effort I put into my pull, going through the hips before I dive underneath the bar, and forcing myself to pause halfway up and emphasize all of that pull into the hips really, really shows me how much more arm and shoulder strength that I have when it comes to getting underneath the bar. It doesn't just have to be a super swift and whippy get under the bar as fast as you can and hope you lock out. I've got a little bit more shoulder strength than I realized to get that just a half inch higher of a pull so that I can have that little bit more comfortability when diving underneath it. Because that make on 235 looked so fluid and looked like I had so much more room to get underneath the bar. So of course, I gotta try 245. Always gotta try. If you don't feel injured and you feel physically fine to keep going, well, you gotta try when the iron's hot, you know what I'm saying? Especially on a week like this where there's no worry about the weight. I truly mean that. But that does not mean I am limiting myself from the weight. It just means that if I don't feel great, we're gonna leave it wherever it feels like I got a good burn. That's it. I don't care if I have any expectations about whatever weights I think I can pick up. The emphasis today is on how good of a core burn I can get and how good a technique I can drive, you know? And it felt great. I failed the first one. It wasn't really close. Like, I got pretty underneath it, but it didn't feel like I really tried. You know, I was shooting the shit with some new homies, doing my thing, and you get distracted. So I whipped myself underneath it on the second one, and we got there. We fucking got there, and I love that. I love it. Gets me going, man. Other than that, the overhead squat was where I started to teeter a little bit. Because again, with the weight not being the focus this week, I wanted to do a really slow tempo on the descent without pausing at the bottom. And I know that seems easier than a normal slow tempo pause rep, but in reality, when you're trying to use as much explosiveness in the hole as you can in the squat, especially something as technical as an overhead squat, you kind of want that full, consistent hold all the way through without having to worry about it, you know? And so it's kind of like how I isolated all of the explosiveness in the part above my knee on the snatch. I'm isolating all the explosiveness just below 90 degrees in the overhead squat, and everything else needs to be focused on holding my core, holding my knees where they need to go, holding everything in perfect stillness and perfect fluidity so that I can fly out from the hole without the barbell flying out in front of me, you know, because the slightest change in an overhead squat will make you drop it forward every time. And sure, I've gone to 295 before an overhead squat. I'm estimated to get something like near 315 right now. However, just because I feel that good does not mean I earned that, and does not mean that it's important to hit those weights. It's important to feel that technique. And especially when you feel like you should switch up what you're doing mid-lift, that's probably when you need to commit to it the most. I got to like 205, and it just was not feeling great. 205, 225, something like that. I kept not going as slow as I could and just rushing a little bit because of the teetering in the form. And it was really hard to hold the tempo going from above 90 degrees to below 90 degrees. And I was coming out of the squat a little too early. You know, I wanted to hold it just a little bit longer, at least holding the form at a slow tempo until hitting that 90 degree angle. And I was like, okay, well, let's just add the pause, whatever. But, you know, I sat there and I'm like, am I really going to sit here and think I'm not good enough to be able to do this? It's not that it's not helping my technique, and it's the fact that it's so hard technically that I should at least attempt to make it look better and feel better so that I can grow through that. Because if I'm struggling with that kind of a weight, with that kind of a tempo, and just whatever I'm doing, whatever variation, if I feel like I can't do it and I need to switch it up, that's the exercise I need to be doing right in that moment. Because I didn't feel injured. I didn't feel physically harmed or anything. I just needed to commit to it and learn from it. So 255 and 275 felt really good, especially 275. Unfortunately, somebody walked in front of the camera at the worst spot, but I have the mindset that I'm in the way, so I really don't give a shit if people walk in the way of it, and that doesn't take away from the effort, you know, just because I don't get to see a perfect image. It was really good, though. Really, really good. I managed to actually really hold it at the tempo I wanted and hold it through that 90-degree angle and then come up at my own rate. That was really good, and I'm proud of that. The last thing with the snatch pull variation, I just did, without letting go of the barbell, a full snatch pull, a snatch pull from below the knees, above the knees, and at the hips, because that's just that really burns out my CNS, especially since I can't let go of the barbell throughout the entire thing. Now, I've done some crazy weight with this variation before, like at least 365 before. However, that don't mean that's what we're doing today. Because I'll tell you what, my low back was so burnt out. This is my first day back, and I've been pushing it really hard the past month, and I've been doing a lot more rest days than I typically do. And it's not worth pushing super heavy weight, even though I know I can do 50 more pounds than what I got to today. Doesn't mean that I should do it if I feel like it's going to hurt me. You know, I just need to focus on technique and core strength right now. You know, that consistency. So I only went up to 3 plates on that variation because I just really didn't want to overdo it. And I'm glad I did, because the stress that it would put on my, not just physical body, but my mental state of what I should or should not be hitting would make me feel very icky, very obligated. I was talking to some homies at work last night about it, because they actually found my Instagram, and they were like, oh, you do this. And I was like, yes, ma'am. I love it when people find that shit, because it makes me so happy, you know? It gets me going. Damn it. However, they were talking about it, and they're just like, oh, well, like, what do you want to do with this in the future? Like, what do you, like, why? Like, I didn't realize you did this like this. And I was like, man, there's no thought about it. You know, it is as simple as I love it. It's as simple as it gets me out of bed in the morning. It's as simple as I can have the worst day ever. And if I make it in the gym, there are 2 things. If I make it in the gym and attempt, it doesn't even have to be a great workout. If I attempt to do the best workout I can do, and if I can go back home to my girlfriend, those are the 2 things that will make any horrific day an amazing day. Every single time. I have had awful days, but if I get myself in that gym and I do my absolute best to focus on that passion and then love the people I love and spend the time around the people that I want to be around, oh my God, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I'll tell you what, it truthfully, you can do anything you want if you just allow yourself to live with that, you know? There doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason with it. It's just something that makes me want to keep coming back, you know? It's like with my knee, you know, I truthfully, the longer this goes on with my knee, I kind of realize it's a bit more permanent than I may realize. I may just have gotten unlucky and developed some sort of tendinopathy that is going to cause chronic pain. But I know how to rehab it. You know, at the end of the workout today, I didn't record it, but I was doing ATG split squats, because ATG split squats are actually a really good way to focus that quad tendon, like with the reverse sled pulls. And just, it may not be what I want exactly, but the fact that I still have a way to lift, regardless of what I may want in a perfect life, means I'm going to fucking do it every single time. I don't care if I'm tired at the end of a normal workout and that I've gone way too hard or whatever and I don't feel great. I am going to do those accessories no matter how much I don't want to do them because they don't feel worth it in the moment, because I know in the long run, if I keep mediating that pain and I keep strengthening my quad tendon as much as I can without overworking it like I did before, then in the long run there's a chance, even if there's the slimmest possibility, that I could get rid of the pain just outright in the future, then I'm going to keep consistent with it. It's the same kind of idea that I have with strength building in general. I don't care if I gain strength through my lifts or if I do better at a certain rate. I just want to try and get to that point to where I can say that I earned the ability to do better and love what I do. It doesn't matter how strong I get. It doesn't matter what weights I put up. I don't care who sees my weights. I don't care how far it goes career-wise. I just want to know that I made progress in my own world, in my own relative positivity toward what I want to do. Because that's really all that matters. I come in here every day and I do my best. A lot of days aren't the way I want them to. A lot of days are the way I want them to go. It's random sometimes. I know my programming could be way more efficient if I just stopped fucking around half the time, but that's part of the fun of it. That's why I don't wear a belt. I know it'd probably be safer, and I know I'd probably have less worry about low back straining if I had to wear a belt, but that's not the way I want to train. The only reason I put the knee sleeves on is because it's making that knee pain feel better. And that's a worth sacrifice in my opinion. And I also have the lightest knee sleeves you can get. So they don't even compress my knee in the way that helps people squat. It just gives me that little bit of comfortability. Honestly, it really reduces my mobility by that little bit because there's something in between the back of my knee that makes it just not enough to make a difference. But it still gets in the way of getting in that ass to grass position as hard as I can. But anyway, physically, after all that, even though it's not the best today, that's not what I care about. I got a good solid burn through my core and my trunk, and that's what matters. That's going to be what piles it up throughout this week so that next week I can get back on that program. And I want to start doing, at the end of every 3 or 4 week cycle, when I go through each week of volume, I want to get to a point where after that last peak week, I keep doing these complex and variation recovery weeks so that I can take a minute to just kind of relax, not worry about the weight, but also have fun and do whatever I want for a minute, and then get back into it again, and then add that 10 pounds. Because in the long run, if you're going to add 10 pounds even once every 6 months, I'm still going to be one strong motherfucker in 5 to 10 years. I'll tell you what. And I want to keep gaining strength longer than that. There's people in their 40s doing this shit. And I want to be that guy. I want to be that 80-year-old throwing the barbell. I don't care how much weight. I just want to do it. Because I love it. That's all it is. Mentally. Oh, I didn't even give you physically. I get ahead of myself. You know this. Damn it, stop me next time. So because of all that, physically, I'm going to give it a pretty decent 8.65. And I know it's a little weird because the 245 was pretty unnaturally strong today, which is great. That means I've really made some great progress and I'm prepped and peaked to get back on that good cycle. But that doesn't mean that the confidence was there, I want that 100% certainty to be what drives me under the barbell, Not just fuck it, I'll do whatever I want. I want to know I have it before I do it. And that's because that's what I love about it. Even if I fail, I want to know that there's at least a good chance because of the work I've put in. Mentally, solid 8.75. Not too much higher, but it was a great day. Truthfully, I'm not even super hyped. It's more so of it's good to be back feeling, It's good to kind of relax for a minute. It's been so much fun traveling the past month and doing kind of whatever I want, just enjoying time off of school, but I need some normal life for a minute. I know that seems odd to say to a lot of people, but I like a good schedule. I like a good, comfortable lifestyle with an occasional impulsive trip, Not all the time. And so the back-to-back trips for the past month has been a bit much on me. So it'll be nice to just be able to really sit down and focus on the program and honestly get into some other passions I want to do. I used to draw a lot growing up, like my whole childhood. I won statewide competitions. I know I'm really good. That's not even bragging. I haven't drawn in nearly 4 years, like legitimately, like because I grew out of it for the most part, and not because I don't like it, but because it started becoming an obligation over a passion. So I really want to spend this time that I have to kind of relax and do my thing and not worry about stuff as much, to, you know, not only further my career and do good at the gym and all that stuff, but also pick up some new things that I haven't done in a while. Enjoy the smaller things. I started reading again. I haven't read a book in 4 fucking years, maybe more. And it's been really nice. It's just it's the smaller things that make me enjoy it. It doesn't have to be some big video. It doesn't have to be some huge project. It's just something that I like to do that makes me happy. And that's all that fucking matters, man. Anyway, I gotta go. We got work soon, but appreciate you guys hanging out. Hear me yap as I always do. I'm gonna go eat the hell out of some Applebee's because I am a hungry boy and I deserve it, damn it. Let me know how the lifts and lives have been going. I love hearing about it. And I'll see you tomorrow with some clean and jerk stuff and some back squat stuff. Not sure what variations I'm gonna do, but we're gonna have fun either way. So, love you guys. See you later. Bye.